Yeah, but the unconscious is a very funny thing, says he pontifically. You can take a dive in and you can come up with all kinds of garbage around your neck, or you can bring up something beautiful. I mean, in a sense, it's like nature. I suppose it is nature, an interior nature. I mean, poetry or the use of language is one of the differences between... Poetry is language at its most memorable, at its best. For poetry, it's much greater and much wider than most people realize. I think that if poetry can be made accessible to the so-called general reader, if it can be heard, and I've written almost everything I've done to be heard. Once that occurs, then there's usually understanding. The barrier has been erected against poetry. Everything sort of militates against the radio, the television, the visual education. We're surrounded by all kinds of shoddy speech, by the cliches of advertising, by the bromides of editorials. To bring up a whole generation trained, as it were, on TV, is to abandon part of the body, the ear. I believe very definitely that the Kierkegaardian notion that education begins when the teacher starts learning from the student, when it becomes, you know, a real reciprocity. Adolescence is peculiarly an interlude time, a time of being blurred or fuzzy or uncertain about what's going on. I said someplace that so much of adolescence is an ill-defined dying, because we are always dying into ourselves and then renewing ourselves. That's perhaps as good a definition as any of what I try to do.
The Saginaw song. In Saginaw, the wind blows up your feet. When the Ladies' Guild puts on a feed, there's beans on every plate. And if you eat more than you should, destruction is complete.
Out Hemlock Way there is a stream that some have called Swan Creek. The turtles have bloodsucker sores and mossy, filthy feet. The bottoms of migrating ducks come off it much less neat.
In Saginaw, bartenders think no ill, but they've ways of indicating when you are not acting well. They throw you through the front plate glass and then send you the bill.
The Morleys and the Burrows are the aristocracy, a likely thing, for they're no worse than the likes of you or me. A picture window's one you can't raise up when you would pee.
In Saginaw, I went to Sunday school. The only thing I ever learned was called the Golden Rule. But that's enough for any man, what's not a proper fool.
I took the pledge cards on my bike. I helped out with the books. The stingy members, when they signed, made with their stingy looks. The largest contributions came from the town's biggest crooks.
In Saginaw, there's never a household fart, for if it did occur, it would blow the place apart. I met a woman who could break wind, and she is my sweetheart.
Well, I'm the genius of the world, of that you can be sure. But alas, alack, me aching back, I'm often a drunken bore. But when I die, and that won't be soon, I'll sing with dear Tom Moore, that lovely man Tom Moore.
My father never used a stick. He slapped me with his hand. He was a Prussian through and knew how to command. I ran behind him every day. He walked our greenhouse land.
I saw a figure in a cloud, a child upon her breast, and it was O, my mother O, and she was half undressed. All women, O, are beautiful when they are half undressed.
The building that you see to the right of me here was built in 1862. In 1892, The Benjamin Livery Stable, which is what the poem I'm going to read is about, is located right down this block, right down there. Shit. I need a script. I don't know. Okay.
That's all right.
To do it
That's all right.
again.
You can do it. Yeah. That guy's intimidating me.
Great. Works, try your lights.
One more time.
Awesome.
Anything else, you know, any questions?
Will poetry survive in the 21st century?
Yes, primarily on space stations and in tubes. Poetry will actually come in squeeze tubes, and you will get that, and then it will come and it will be like a tube thing, and then books will appear, you know, will actually fold out into a book, this tube stuff.
Does that have water?
Been working on that actually now for a while.
Finest frog's fur, huh? Give me my cigar. I need my cigar. I need my cigar. This was my father's. This is my father's cigar. It is still lean and hard, waiting for me.
Thank you very much.
I needed no resurrection because I had not been born.
That's right.
All right, go ahead, Tom.
The whiskey on your breath could make a small boy dizzy, but I hung on like death. Such waltzing was not easy. We romped until the pan slid from the kitchen shelf. My mother's countenance could not unfrown itself. The hand that held my wrist was battered on one knuckle, and every step you missed, my right ear scraped a buckle. You beat time on my head with a palm caked hard by dirt, then waltzed me off to bed, still clinging to your shirt.
Okay, now do George Burns, the poem.